Hello, folks. Welcome back again. How are you all doing? In today's video, we are gonna try to sort out the reasons for sudden death and what are the initial signs that our body forces out. So, join with me in today's video by sharing your valuable time. Without any further delay, let's start. What do you mean by lethal? Sufficient to cause death. When death comes suddenly, there is literally no time to prepare for it. In contrast, watching an older person becoming increasingly frail means that it's hard to know when the end of life begins because changes happen so slowly. Just as each life is unique, so is each death. But there are some common experiences very near the death. So, to be practical, there is no way to fully prepare for death, but these signs and symptoms are taken into consideration to look for the end of a person's life. The first might be loss of appetite. As the body shuts down, energy needs to be declined. Patients may start to refuse food that are hard to chew and digest, like meat uh, or any non vegetarian, because they are very hard to digest. Declining meals or simply taking a few bites is common. It is because they experience difficulty in swallowing and therefore will begin to refuse liquids and food. How you can help in this situation? Offer modified, that is, softer foods that are easy to digest. Allow more time for eating and offer high protein supplements such as protein shakes. And next, increased physical weakness. Decreased food intake leads to less energy, and simple activities like sitting on the edge of the bed, lifting one's arms to change clothes, and even having a short conversation becomes difficult. Moreover, sipping from a straw, lifting head, or shifting in bed may take great effort. Labored breathing. Towards end of life, most people begin to experience changes in breathing. Shortness of breath is often described as air hunger. The body is telling the heart and lungs that it needs more oxygen, and this can produce fear and anxiety. Another change a patient can experience is chain stroke breathing, which is loud breathing with a distinctive pattern. Deep, rapid inhalations that slowly decrease, followed by a pause of not breathing. Excessive secretions, that is, moisture in mouth and throat, can create loud gargling noise during breathing. Some may call that as death rattle. And the fourth one is changing or changes in urination. Dehydration from decreased oral intake will lower blood pressure, leading to decreased renal function and eventually renal failure. Urine will become concentrated and brownish or reddish in color, and also patients who normally have bladder or bowel control may lose functions during the dying process, and eventually there will be no urine output. Swelling to feet, ankles, and hands. Various chronic illnesses contribute to edema and swelling of the feet and hands as the conditions become unmanageable. Fluid is not effectively pumped through the kidneys to be filtered and regulated. A very common cause of edema in a dying person is protein malnutrition. Fluid is most evident in dependent areas that are below the heart, like ankles and feet. When fluid is more evident in the lungs, that increases shortness of breath, and then you may hear rattle sound when the patient is breathing. These changes can be observed, but changes occurring to our organs can't be predicted. Well, the first organ to fail is digestive system, like days or months before death. But the first organ to die is brain, followed by heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and so on. Sudden deaths will not occur all of a sudden. The patient may have experiencing these symptoms or signs since hours or days leading to his or her death. Brain. Intracranial catastrophe is an often overlooked cause of sudden death. Unlike other tissues in the body, the brain has an uniquely limited capacity to tolerate low oxygen delivery and appropriate blood flow through maintaining blood pressure and oxygen. In case of CV accidents, the blood flow to a part of brain has stopped due to either obstruction from an embolism, from rupture of a vessel carrying blood to the affected area of brain. In non-hemorrhagic strokes, where thrombolytic therapy is thought to be a benefit in some patients when delivered within the first few hours of stroke. These patients can present with syncope, vertigo, facial droop, dysarthria, unilateral weakness, unilateral loss of sensation, or hemiparesis. Initial assessment should include a glucose measurement. Cardiac monitoring is also important as strokes have been associated with ensuring fatal arrhythmias leading to sudden unexpected death. In the case of massive hemorrhagic cerebrovascular attacks, which is associated with markedly elevated blood pressure, patients frequently die before the initiation of medical therapy. Declining mental status is particular and is one of the early signs of increased intracranial pressure. Subarachnoid hemorrhage is another CNS cause of stroke and sudden death. Most commonly, it is a result of ruptured intracranial aneurysm. Subarachnoid hemorrhage often presents with the rapid onset of severe headache, referred to as a thunderclap headache. Key concepts. As with other causes of sudden death, patients with intracranial emergencies may have no preceding symptoms. However, signs and symptoms such as new or worsening headaches, focal neurologic complaints, or declining mental status are seen. Glucose value should always be obtained to avoid missing hypoglycemia and profound hyperglycemia. When transporting patient with suspected intracranial hemorrhage or cerebrovascular attack, it's critical to avoid hypotension or hypoxia as both will significantly increase morbidity and mortality. And next, heart. There are two possible conditions like arrhythmias and myocardial infarctions which cause sudden death. Arrhythmias. There are many causes of fatal arrhythmias including cardiomyopathies, inherited defects in the conduction system such as prolonged QT syndrome. And the most commonly associated factor is ischemic injury from acute myocardial infarction or previous infractions. Electrolyte imbalance can lead to arrhythmias and sudden death, such as hyperkalemia seen in patients with end-stage renal disease on hemodialysis and hypokalemia in patients taking diuretics. A significant number of patients who suffer sudden cardiac death will have no preceding symptoms. Other patients may have a history of chest pain, shortness of breath, palpitations, dizziness, or syncope. Thus, relatively even healthy young patients with minor complications such as palpitations need to be taken seriously. Acute myocardial infarction. Another cause of sudden death. Sudden death is acute myocardial infarction. Plaques that develop within arteries progresses over time and eventually rupture and occlude blood flow. When a patient presents with symptoms suggestive of acute myocardial infarction, it's critically important to obtain a 12-lead ECG, which can help confirm the diagnosis of ST elevation, myocardial infarction. Furthermore, there are many atypical presentations of acute myocardial infarction that won't be immediately recognized if a provider isn't aware of them. Some of those atypical symptoms of acute myocardial infarction are dyspnea, diaphoresis, CNS symptoms including syncope, presyncope, dizziness, and stroke-like symptoms, GI symptoms including nausea and non-localizing mild abdominal discomfort and weakness. The classical presentation of acute myocardial infarction is chest pain, pain that's similar to a previous heart attack, pain that radiates to either or both arms. The pain is sharp, stabbing, worse with respiration or position, and also worse with pressure if applied to the affected area. And coming to lungs, pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism classically occurs more frequently in the elderly and cancer patients or patients who recently underwent surgery or patients on estrogen containing medication. However, a pulmonary embolism can occur in patients with none of these risk factors known prior to presentation. Alarmingly, In one study, it was estimated that sudden death was the first manifestation of pulmonary embolism in as many as 25% of patients. A pulmonary embolism occurs when a thrombus from a lower extremity becomes dislodged and embolizes in inferior vena cava to the right side of the heart. Once ejected from the right ventricle, it enters the pulmonary circulation, where it wedges into the branches of the pulmonary arteries, inhibiting blood flow through the lungs. Many patients who have a pulmonary embolism will often present with sinus tachycardia early on without any other findings. The combination of tachycardia, decreased oxygen saturation, and pleuritic chest pain should prompt the provider to consider pulmonary embolism. In patients suspected with a pulmonary embolism, it's important to secure the ABCs with pulse oximeter, and cardiac monitoring should be obtained with a 12 lead ECG while transporting the patient to the hospital. Oh, this has become a lengthy video. I hope this video is a bit helpful to you. If you like this video, please like, comment and share. And for many more interesting videos, please smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. See you all next week. Bye.